All right. There are some large organizations, and I mean large organizations, whose names I think are completely mixed up. The Department of Water and Power. Well, water and power don't go together. You get fucking electrocuted. The Food and Drug Administration. Well, with most drugs, you don't want any food. Except marijuana. They shouldn't be bothering people with marijuana in the first place. Then you have that really interesting organization, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Do we even have to talk about this one? Bad combination. Here's what they ought to do. You call the police the Department of Power and Firearms. Then you have the Food and Water Administration. That's what you need to survive. Food and water, you put them together. That leaves you with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Drugs. Keep all the good shit in one place. Let's talk about people's names. People's names can be interesting because sometimes they carry with them a kind of emotional baggage that comes with the name. For instance, think of the names of the founders of the great religions. Those founders' names still today ring with an air of mystery. Christ, Moses, Buddha, Mohammed. But the Mormons, Joseph Smith, not too impressive. Come on, we're all going to Utah. Who said so? Joe Smith. Well, I gotta go take a shit. Drop me a postcard and let me know how you like it out there. Well, I was raised Catholic and I'm still waiting for a new pope to choose the name Corky. Wouldn't that be fun? His Holiness Pope Corky the Ninth. Well, I think you'd have to skip the 9 to give him a little credibility, don't you? Somehow to me, Pope Corky I doesn't command a great deal of authority. Names tell you a lot. You know this country's in deep trouble if we ever wind up with a president named Booger. Booger or Night Train. And you know that it's time to dissolve the Electoral College. And history. Sometimes names affect history. I honestly believe there never would have been a Second World War if Hitler's first name was Floyd. Can you imagine that? I'm going to take over the world and kill 20 million people. Remember the name Floyd Hitler? Or they would have beat the shit out of him in Munich in 1931. And no one would have been afraid of Jack the Ripper if his name was Wally. Who's that? Who's on the loose? Wally the Ripper. What a fucking goof. Wally the Ripper, indeed. And Billy the Kid. Suppose his name was Billy the Schmuck. People would have been a lot less tense. Who's that riding into town? Well, that's Billy the Schmuck. Well, fuck him. And I know I never would have gone hunting with Buffalo Shecky. Doesn't sound safe. Suppose, just suppose, there had been a really great composer living in Vienna in the 18th century, but good, better than all the rest. Better than Bach, better than Beethoven, better than Mozart, but his name was Johann the Cunt-Clapper. Do you think they would play his music on the radio today? And now the New York Philharmonic performs the Easter Mass in C-sharp minor by Johann the Cunt-Clapper. Considered Johann's finest work, it had a profound influence on another obscure composer of that era, Heinrich the Mule Fucker. Well, some people have dirty names. They can't help it, they have a dirty name. Think of all the Dicks and Peters that are running around out there, shaking hands with people. And some of you must know this. There's actually a NASCAR race driver whose name is Dick Trickle. Isn't that true? That's his name, folks. Dick Trickle. Well, how do you go through life like that? Hi, I'm Dick Trickle. Fine, stand over there. Off the carpet, please. Thank you, Mr. Trickle. Here's a milk bottle for you. Will that help you a little bit? Well, they look like pretty nice moccasins to me. But having your dick trickle is not nearly as impressive as having a Magic Johnson. Whoa, look If I was you, Mr. Johnson, I'd put that thing away a little at a time. You know, you wouldn't want to go and get a big knot in it, now would you? And Peter O'Toole. That's a double-header, isn't it? Hey, if you're the Doublemint twins, don't bend over near Peter O'Toole. Now, on the other hand, some people have funny names, and they can't help it, they have a funny name. Do you realize Howdy Doody's mother and father are known as the Doody's? It's true, Rudy and Judy Duty. And Bo Diddley's mother and father are the Diddleys, Dottie and Dudley Diddley. Well, how'd you like to be at a party and have to introduce the Doody's to the Diddleys? Rudy Doody, like to meet Dottie Diddley, Dottie Diddley, Judy Doody, Judy Doody, Dudley Diddley, Dudley Diddley, Rudy Doody, Rudy Doody, Dottie Diddley. By the time you get finished with these four people, who shows up but Howdy's Doody's two sisters, Dee Dee Doody and Dodie Doody? Well, I don't know about you folks, but I'd be drinking triple whiskeys and saying, please God, don't let fucking Rudy Kazootie show up tonight. And didn't they have any funny names in the Old West? Was everybody out there really named Murdoch and Kincaid? Didn't they have any funny names? Hey, Dan, guess who's over at the saloon getting all liquored up? Two-Gun Flechtenberger. Says he's going to get even with Farley Fluckenhucker for killing his buddy, Clayton Heffelflecker. Huh? Well, I heard it from old Doc Peckerchecker. You better tell Sheriff Dick Licker to get his ass on there. Boy, there's going to be hell to pay when Marshal Dingleberry gets back in town. Hey, there goes that dance hall girl, Fanny Clitpicker. Let's go get laid, let's go get laid, let's go get laid. One more of these funny names, and this one's also from the Old West, but this one has a kind of legendary background to it. Did you ever hear this idea that there were certain Indians in the Old West who were named for the first thing they saw when they were born? Makes you wonder why there aren't more Indians named Wet Hairy Pussy, doesn't it? God, you'd think there'd be a whole gang of those motherfuckers. Apparently the name never caught on. Thanks for coming in here tonight. I hope I'll see you again. Have a good Christmas.